And
we're off, huh?
I am excited. I'm fired up, and I am riled up.
Why is that?
I just want to say riled up.
Oh, so for Mike Riley, huh?
We won. Hey, we won a game. It was an upset. Like, how couldn't you be more excited?
But honestly, do you think it was an upset, or and I know Vegas had Purdue favored, which rightfully so because they were at home. But for any Nebraska fan, do you think that was truly an upset to the true football fans in America? Was that an upset? I don't think it was.
Absolutely not.
I don't think it was. Now, if you're looking at the betting lines and all that kind of stuff, the Vegas, the odds and betting on the game, yes, it was an upset. But there was no doubt that there was a lot of doubt in my mind. But I'd have been highly, highly upset if Nebraska would have lost that game.
Yeah, I agree. I think that would have been most people. I don't think anybody really seen that as a true upset.
No.
No matter what the betting line was, that was just absolutely ridiculous that we were even. Well, the way we performed, I can see that. But, yeah, I think everybody, even me, even going into the fourth quarter, even how bad this team was, I was still fairly confident.
Yeah, I just figured out, and my mindset was like, okay, when are they going to start playing the football game? When are they going to stop letting Purdue off the hook?
Yeah.
When are we going to start doing things to be successful? And it was more disappointing than me with this game, even though we won, was we spent 10 days on game plans, and that was the best we came up with.
The 3rd and 1, let's go to the pass. There was
right, quarterback sneak. I can understand quarterback sneak and stuff like that, but for some reason, I don't know what was going on in the play caller's mind to when you have momentum and you're moving the ball and you're 2nd and 1. Why do you think you need to go to the end zone?
Yeah.
You haven't been successful doing that all year on short yardage. Get the first down. Now come out on first down, and maybe if you want to try for a deep pass, you can. But then you put yourself in a 3rd and 1 to where we have an offensive line who has proven time and time again they can't really push anybody off the ball. And you're going to run. Now everyone knows you're going to run the ball there. To me, that makes zero sense.
Well, they didn't have I agree.
Or if you're gonna run the ball, put a fullback in the game. At least you got someone to block or something.
Yeah.
But you run back and you try to run the ball on short yardage when the team know you're gonna run it now. You don't throw it on 2nd and 1. Why would you throw it again on 3rd and 1?
3rd and 1, 2nd and 1. Well, then they were running the play action pass or play action. Did I say that right?
Play action.
So, but they had no run game established. Isn't that more effective after the run game?
Yeah, you got the play action pass only works when you're running the football.
And that's what I thought. So I'm watching. I'm like, what are they doing? Like, why would you run that?
And if you're not running the football and team's still falling for your play action, then something's wrong with that. Something's wrong with that defense. They're looking at the wrong game, and that's why you see all the good running teams. They have very good play action pass team. For instance, look at Wisconsin. Wisconsin run the ball so well to when they play action pass, they don't have the world beaters or receivers, but when they do play action pass, those guys are running open because why? Because the defense is thinking about run first because they've been running the ball well. Oh, wait a minute, guy behind, throw the ball down the field. Nebraska, we haven't done that. We don't have a good play action pass game. Why? Because the running game is not doing very well. But 10 days of game planning, or let's say 11 days, and that's the best offensive game plan you can come up with.
It looks
that was shocking to me.
It looks the same as what we've seen all season, really.
I didn't see
anything different.
I didn't see any improvement. I still saw offensive line who was giving up pressures, who couldn't move, who couldn't run block very well, who couldn't pass pro very well.
Them? They were dropping like flies on the offensive line.
And I saw a team that wasn't playing very tough, and it's sad when you get calls from guys or texts from guys who played in the 60s and 70s. That's kind of what my friends are now, the older guys. Now the young guys don't want to talk to me because they say I'm too critical of them. but the older guys say, there's no toughness. Why we getting so many guys injured already? I mean, it seems like every play somebody was being injured. And to me, injured and pain are two different things because some of the guys who down the field like they're injured, 3 plays later they're back out there on the field.
Yeah.
That stuff bothers me there. Okay, if you're just hurting, then run to the sideline and don't make a whole scene with the trainers come out there. Then 3 plays later, you're back out there running full speed.
I didn't think of that, but that is something to be said. Like, they're laying down, rolling around, or not even rolling around. They're just laying there. They wait for the trainers. I wonder what kind of direction they get. Do they do that on like in soccer? Those guys take the falls on purpose to stop and delay the game. Is there any of that in football typically?
Well, I think,
is there some of that going on?
There used to be, especially when this whole phenomenon of the spread offense started, and teams get running and trying to get team defense get tired. Then, of course, there was a coach or two who say, hey, they'll look at it and lay down, continue injured or something like that. So it happens. But I don't think that was the case last night. No. Purdue wasn't really running an up-tempo offense.
And we were seeing it on the offensive side. Well, there was all over the place, but there was a lot on the offense.
There was a lot of injuries on the offense. There was a lot of injuries. And I'm just like, where's the toughness?
Yeah. So, anyway, wait, before we go too far, I should say this is the Tommy Fraser Husker Nation live on Facebook every morning or every Sunday morning at 10 a.m. And then the podcast, the recording of this, which will have a little better quality, actually a lot better quality, will come out later today. So you can always catch up there. Otherwise, go to Facebook or Facebox. I don't know what's on your mind, but the Facebox.
You said it, not me. No.
Tommy Fraser, Touchdown Tommy on Facebox.
maybe that's what Saturday. Maybe the last night game has gotten us to
wow.
But it was a boring game. I'm sorry to say, people, to where this was probably one of the first time I'm watching Nebraska play on TV that I literally was flipping back and forth between the World Series and other games on TV coming back there.
You remember when we played? This game reminds me. We played Wake Forest in Lincoln. I think it was Wake Forest. It's been 10 years now. I don't know. But the final score was like, what was it? It was like 3-8 or something ridiculous.
Right.
It reminds me that it was the most boring game I've ever seen the Huskers play.
And don't get me wrong, Purdue has improved. Okay, and we know we're sitting here as analysts, as people talking about the game. When people fail, I didn't forget, but Purdue did beat Nebraska 3 years ago in Purdue, and they beat them they scored 55 points against Nebraska. I think it was the first year of Mike Riley.
Little different situation.
But still, at the end of the day, have we gotten to the point? And here's where we as Nebraskans, we as an athletic department, we as a university, not taking anything away from Purdue, not because they have a fine university, have fine athletics, stuff like that. But when it comes to football, has this program gotten to that point to where they need to score late in the game, 14 seconds to beat Purdue?
Well, Purdue's recruiting class is top notch, right?
They
got more talent, right?
No, they don't have more. And that's a legitimate question to where, and I know Nebraska's a young football team,
but they don't have the talent that Nebraska has, right? No. They don't have the coaching. I won't even say that.
They might be better coached. Purdue might be better coached.
There's something else going on. Like, there's no way we should go to the end of the game to win that.
No, I'm honestly,
no way.
I saw a better coached football team in Purdue last night than I did Nebraska.
Yeah, I can't argue that.
I don't think Purdue, and I know Purdue don't have better athletes than Nebraska.
No.
And you can't say, well, they played it was a road game. No, I don't care if it was a road game. They don't have better athletes. But what I did see was a better coached football team, a more prepared football team, if that's better to say.
They're much more prepared.
So something's going on. So something's wrong there. And I know, and I don't want to get into about this coach, that coach, but something needs to be evaluated right now on how are they preparing.
Mike says it was 55-45. It was actually Halloween 3 years ago.
Yes.
That's right.
Yes.
I forgot about that.
So back to my statement. There needs to be something done right now as far as how are we going to prepare our guys to make sure that they're ready when they come out of the locker room. And until that is made, you're going to see lackluster performances that you saw last night.
There's no heart. I don't even want to play the hard game. Everybody says there's no heart, but there is no desire, it seems like, for that team.
The most excitement I saw out of the team and out of the coaching staff was the last touchdown.
Oh, yeah. They went crazy like they won the Super Bowl.
That was the most excitement I've seen all year.
Yeah.
So what does that tell you? They're feeling the pressure. They're feeling everything out there, what people are saying. They're starting to buy into it instead of just focusing on the team.
Yeah.
Instead of just focusing on getting better. You control what you control. But last night you saw after that excitement, you was like, ooh, fine, wow, we won the game. Yes, let's get excited. Now that saves our job for another week.
Yeah.
That to me, that's what that excitement showed me. There was no enthusiasm the whole game until that last play. Something's wrong with that.
There was definitely some emotional baggage there when they had. I mean, because they were extremely emotional at the end of that. They were extremely excited. So you're right. They definitely felt the pressure. You've seen Riley the most animated, yeah, that we've seen him ever probably.
Which I actually like that.
He was out there. He was passionate towards the end of the game about them executing the way making the calls, timeout. Like he was.
Or even I remember one play when they were going down to score. I think right before they scored, they had to kick the field goal.
Yeah.
Before the third quarter, and they ran the ball. And the offensive lineman missed the ball. I mean, I thought he was going to throw his paper down because that's how he was like. Right then, you could tell that he was involved in the game, and that he was emotionally like, okay, this got to stop. Yeah. How can that happen? On a simple run play.
Yeah.
A guy goes unblocked, a defensive lineman, or a blitzing guy. Come on. Are we not prepared for stuff like that? Are we not showing them on tape that if in this formation, there's a good chance they can do this?
Well, they didn't do anything different, I'm sure, than what they've done all year.
No. Why? Because this is the first year of a coaching staff, so they're not going to do anything fancy.
They ran all over us. I mean, what did they put up, 200 yards? Is that what we said?
199 yards rushing, I think it was.
Yeah, 199 yards rushing, so we still were not able to stop the run.
Now, I was happy to see our defensive back play closer.
Yeah,
they won 7 yards off. Now a couple times they were, but at least they challenged them. And did we get some pass interferences? Yes, but I don't mind those because I'd rather give a pass interference than to give up a touchdown.
I didn't understand the Stanley Morgan pass interference call, but unless there's something that happened that wasn't caught on camera, that was ridiculous.
Yeah, but I mean, there's still something going on. I don't truly think the players are truly buying in, and the coaching staff can say, well, this team hasn't. They got the team's attention. I don't know if I agree with that 100% if they're coming out and performing the way they are. If you got one of your best receivers dropping balls, wide open balls. If you got your best offensive lineman holding all the time on simple blocking schemes. So I don't know if they have this team. And of course you can say, well, these are older guys. These guys, they haven't. Yeah, I can see that. The modern day personnel, he dropped the ball. He was the guy that Mike Riley recruited.
Yeah.
I can understand. Nick Gates was another guy I think Mike Riley recruited. Not sure, but I'm thinking that. So there's still some of that temperament of guys who, maybe dropped the ball. Oh, big deal. But that has to change.
Yeah.
When you got to make the play, you got to make the plays.
So let me see. There's a lot of comments out here. Right away, just at the top, Jake just said, by the way, he said he thinks Jalen needs to get the ball a little more. As a freshman, he looked really good running ball.
Yeah, he did. And that's once they pulled his red shirt, I felt that he should have been the one out there getting half of the carry, especially when they decided that Trey Bryant was out for the year that he's going to have knee surgery.
Yeah.
And there's a reason why you pulled his scholarship, his red shirt. So if you're going to pull a guy's red shirt, then get him out on the field. Whether it's in a return game or carrying the ball. And he had more success carrying the ball last night than anybody. And because of his youthfulness.
Yeah.
His actually probably not knowing, just out there just running the football, his instincts take over. Because that's what freshman running backs do. When you get out there, you really don't. You run to the open light.
There is something special about that, right? You see a lot of freshmen come in and they do that. They perform really well, and then they go into sophomore, junior year, and they kind of
lag off. And now they're trying to perfect. Instead of to me, running the football, you see light, go to the light.
Yeah.
It's like poltergeist. Caroline, come to the light. Go to the light. The same thing running the football. Where's the light? You run to it. And he did that. I remember a couple of times when he broke the ball back across the whole offense and 12, 15 yards down the field. So I think I think they need to play him more. I think he gives them a little bit more spunk back there.
Yeah, he played very well. Well, between Wilbon and Ezekbo, they kind of...
You know what you're going to get from those guys.
Yeah.
Ezekbo is more of a downhill power runner.
Yeah.
Wilbon is kind of you really don't know. He's kind of...
They pass to him a lot, it seems like.
Yeah,
play
I think
he's
a better pass receiver than he is running the ball out of the backfield. But I think Jalen Bradley can do it all.
Yeah. He was definitely a shining spot last night. Tanner Lee, he even had 5 carries for negative 18 yards. But
so that means there was sacks. There was sacks.
Yeah.
And that's another thing I saw in that game. There was a lot of times where a lot of those negative runs, we came out of the shotgun position. If he would have just pulled it,
yeah,
they're the score because right now in the shotgun and it's a run, the other teams know that he's going to hand the ball off. That he's not going to run the football. So that's why they're crashing. That's why they're just crashing. Don't even worry about him.
Yeah.
If he pulls it 1 or 2 times a game, it's going to force him to, wait a minute, I can't crash as fast. Yeah. Look at what Purdue's quarterback did. They run the ball. Oh, he pulls it. Now he's 10 yards down the field. Run it, pull it. Now he's scoring a touchdown.
Yeah.
It's the simple fact that if you just pull it 1 or 2 times, now you force the defense to think of they can't crash down on the running back as much.
So Mandy asked, Mandy said, let's talk Lee. So I don't know what that means. What do you want to talk about Lee, Mandy? He had a good game.
Yeah, he played well.
He played really well.
He played well, despite he had a lot of pressure. Sometimes, but when you go 32 for 50 for 400 some yards, well, basically you were the receiver, were the offense.
Yeah.
You can't say anything bad about that.
Is that a record? That might be a record game for him, at least at Nebraska.
Yeah,
right?
I think it's most yards by a quarterback.
That's a lot of yards for a Nebraska quarterback.
Yeah, but they had to do it because they couldn't establish a running game.
Yeah, they had no running game.
Well, I won't say they didn't have because they really try to run the football.
Once Bradley got in there, we had a little bit. But
we saw some light. Yeah, so I just thought that for the circumstances and him having to throw the ball in the win, he did it, and he played well last night. So in the last couple of weeks, he's played well. Even versus Ohio State and Wisconsin, was like, with the exception of the pick 6 in Wisconsin, wasn't like he played bad. So I think that I can't say anything negative about him. I think because he basically played the way, and he played well enough to help Nebraska win last night.
No interceptions,
no turnovers.
He did his job.
It's something about that when he doesn't turn the ball over, it gives Nebraska a chance to win the game.
It's crazy though, no turnovers, and we still the game being that close. And
it was a red zone offense. We're down there inside the 20-yard line, and we kicked 4 field goals. Yeah. Something has to change. We're down to one time, and we have a drop pass.
That last series though, that was pretty. I mean, they did a really well job on that last series.
Yeah, but the 2-minute offense. I think
they were moving.
I actually believe they played better with the 2-minute offense than they do the regular offense.
They look good. That's the one series they look pretty
guys
impressive.
Catching the balls, getting out of bounds. Guys are more concentrated, more focused. Guys running more crisp, routes more crisp. Offensive line with the exception of one play, protected well on that. So maybe the 2-minute offense is the way they need to go.
BG asks, is this just a product of playing an inferior team? So, in other words, I'm guessing, did we come down to that level? Is that what he's saying?
No, Nebraska's been at that level for how many weeks now? I think Purdue played better than Nebraska did. So I don't think. I know Nebraska might be a better team talent wise, but when you come to a better team overall, I thought it was an evenly matched game.
Well, we didn't play up when we played Ohio State.
No, we played down. I think versus Ohio State. I think Nebraska just played not to get embarrassed too much like they did the year before. Versus Wisconsin, they came out and played hard, and then fourth quarter just ran out of gas.
Yeah.
But last night, Nebraska, I think that what you saw in Nebraska, I think that's probably what you'll see for the rest of the year. A team who's trying not to make the major mistakes, but also trying to win a game. And you can't play this game not to make a mistake. You got to play this game to go out there and win the game. And early on that game, with the play call and with the defense, with the offense, with this, I don't think Nebraska played that game early on to win it. Well, you can't settle for field goals on the road and stick to win the game. That was
ridiculous.
You can't.
No.
And it almost cost Nebraska last night.
Well, shout out to Drew Brown. He had a solid night.
Yeah, he had 13 points last night.
Good for him. Jeffrey says, looks like the receiver coated their gloves with Vaseline last night.
I won't say that. There are some tough catches. There are some that should have been called. Even Purdue, you can say that Nebraska coated their gloves with Vaseline. Look at Purdue. I think Purdue dropped two. They had one of them, a touchdown pass early in the game and late in the game. So I just think it was that time. I think it was with the, people don't understand when the temperature drops and it's 30-some degrees, 40-some degrees, and then I think it rained there some of the day, the moisture in there. It does affect the football and it does affect the gloves and stuff like that. So I'm not going to, you still got to catch the ball, but the temperature and the weather plays a lot in the guys catching the ball. But there are some passes like the one personnel dropped. That's just lack of concentration. That's just lack of focus.
And I hate to be harsh on that guy because he does, when when he gets a hold of the ball, he still has that something special that he can do something.
He's still one of my favorite players, but I think he's just inconsistent right now.
He is inconsistent right now.
You don't know what you're going to get from him. But when he's on, he changes the whole game.
He is
when he's on. But when he's off, he's off.
Yeah, we didn't get a chance to see much from him last night on special teams.
And maybe last night was a product of his demons.
Yeah, that could be.
Because people forget 3 years ago when he tore his ACL. After he caught a touchdown pass,
in that
celebrated
stadium,
in that stadium.
Yeah.
So maybe that kind of was stealing away. But, people don't think that stuff actually happens, but it does.
Oh, boy. Joshua says he thinks we need to address the strength and conditioning. I think we see that almost every year ever since we've been doing this. I think we see that commonly said.
Well, I think they've gotten stronger. I think they've gotten better.
Is he talking? I think he's talking about maybe the injuries and how much does a cold though play? You just said even play into some of that.
That affects it. It affects how your body warms up. It affects how when it's hot you stay loose the whole game, but when it's cold and you got to constantly stay stretchy because
you'll tighten back up.
So, but I think this team has gotten stronger. And strength and conditioning is just like offense and defense. You got to give it time. You got a new guy coming in here because you got to realize the guy they had before really didn't believe in heavy lifting and all that kind of stuff. But then they brought Board Eppley back, and Board started to put his footprint back on it. And now they got a guy in here who trained up on the Nebraska guy and Brian Bailey at USC, if I think it's where he came from.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to come.
Which I love watching him on the sideline. He's the most animated guy on the sideline.
Yes, and I think he's the emotional guy. When a touchdown happened, he's the first coach on the field. Out there in Stanley Morgan's face and jumping, bumping. So I think the strength and conditioning is going to come with players. But I think the players got to truly invest into it too.
Sadie says, is the lack of physicality from Nebraska a recruiting problem, a coaching problem, or a culture problem?
Right now, I don't think it's a coaching problem. I don't think it's a recruiting. I think it's just more of a practice problem. I don't know if I said that right. I just think it's how they practice. If you don't practice being a physical football team, it's going to be hard to be a physical football team on Saturdays. I can guarantee you when you go watch Alabama practice, those guys are butting heads hard, full speed. When you go watch Ohio State practice, I guarantee they're butting heads hard. When you watch Wisconsin, I guarantee the guys are butting heads hard. I don't think we're doing that in practice. I think we're wrapping up and butting off, but I don't think we thudding and taking guys down. I know, I hate going back to Coach Osborne's system because it was just there was one or twice a week to where we physically went 1-on-1 goal line short yardage or something like that for 10 plays, and it was a full go, full speed, full go. And when we got in the game, it wasn't like
God, that would have been great to even watch those.
It wasn't seriously. I mean, those
the talent on both sides of the field.
Those were battles.
Oh yeah,
it got to the point where guys started fighting. That's how much we battled, how physical they were. But I think that sometimes that you have to continue that during the season. And I know it's a long season, but if you don't continue practicing being physical in practice, how can you ask a guy to be physical in the game? If you don't practice tackling in practice, how can you ask a guy to be perfect in the game when you don't practice it? If you can't step and block a guy full speed a certain way in practice, how can you ask him to do that in the game? So all I think is more of a cultural deal right now. Until maybe that's one, like I said, maybe that's one of the things got to evaluate right now. And I said that earlier. They got to start evaluating what they're doing, because obviously getting these guys motivated from start to finish, getting these guys to play physical every play, it's not happening right now, and it showed Saturday or last night.
It absolutely. You could have sold tickets just to watch that. Offense, defense, 95, 94.
Oh yeah, 96, 10 plays. Yeah,
holy shit. I mean, all through the 90s.
Yeah, I mean, it was a battle.
Ooh. All right, so Brian says, how does our offensive line size up to other Big Ten teams? I don't really know.
Let's put it this way. Compared to the top teams in the conference, not very well.
I mean, we've already seen it look what Wisconsin did to us. Look at Ohio State.
Look at Ohio State. Look at Michigan State. Look at Iowa could have a better offensive line. I know they're not playing very well right now, but they could have a better offensive line. I just think that we are playing a lot of young guys on the offensive line. We don't have enough depth on the offensive line.
Well, what's interesting, and I could be wrong about this, but we talked about him going out, and we're going to California a lot. We're getting all these star players are trying to in these certain positions like receiver. But I think most of the offensive line guys are the local guys. I think there's at least one out of Lincoln, one Omaha.
But here's the thing about it. A lot of them were walk-ons.
That's where I was going with this. We're not recruiting those guys. Like, there's nothing with a local, but it just seems like he's leveraging the walk-on program for that.
And Coach Osborne did that. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Yeah. But when you got those guys having to come in and play within the first 2 years, that says something about the way you've been recruited. And this goes back before Mike Riled. Recruiting athlete starts years prior when guys coming through. You got 4 or 5 years to play guys. This is his third year, Mike Riley's third year. So a lot of the deficiencies that you're seeing he realized that, wait a minute, we didn't have this, so we're going to have to play a lot of young guys and keep and get them experience now. Because year 4 and 5, now they'll be seniors, and now we started getting our culture in there. So a lot of this is happening from previous staff. It's just not him. Now, with that said, knowing where you're weak at, knowing you have depth there, why are you going out here signing all these skilled players when you need to be focusing on the interior? I don't care. You can get as many defensive linemen and offensive linemen you can, because that's where you're going to win games. If you can get pressure with 4 guys, look at Ohio State. And I know people say, well, they would get all 4 or 5 stars. That is true. But how often did you see Ohio State blitz Nebraska? Look at last night with Penn State, the last drive of the game.
Man.
They got pressure with 4 guys. They were able to cover and got pressure with 4 guys. And this versus Penn State, who's the number 2 team in the country.
Yeah.
So that means something. Offensive line play really means something. Defensive line play means something. It could change everything in the way you do things offensively, defensively.
Well, even look at, we go get these star players, if you want to call them that, and you look at, was it Lindsey?
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Tyjon Lindsey?
Yeah. Which, wasn't he like a 4-star?
Yeah, and he didn't do much last night. So, it's okay to go out and get the skilled players, but you got to start building this thing inside out. You got, especially if you're a 3-4 defense and you know that you don't have, go get a big brother, white guy, black guy, Samoan, whatever he is, and put him in the middle that can cause havoc in the middle. That would help this defense out more than anything. But right now, we're not getting anything from the nose tackle.
Luke said, do you think teams are intimidated by Nebraska anymore?
No.
Which, come on.
No.
You know the answer to that.
Luke, are you intimidated by Nebraska right now? Do you fear Nebraska when they step on the field that they're going to win the game? No. There are times where when Team Nebraska walked on the field, teams was out there just to play COVID. I talked with coaches who coached against Nebraska, say we were just trying to keep it close. We knew we didn't have a chance. And actually, one of the guys who, when I had this conversation with a couple of years ago, he's the defensive coordinator at Clemson. And he's like when he was at Kansas State around the time we came, he said, Tom, when you guys came in here, we were just hoping that we keep it close. Yeah. You guys had us intimidated just by your locker room talk.
It was, we were the Ohio State.
Yeah.
Back then of the Big
12. Teams are not intimidated by Nebraska.
Not at all. Even coming to our house.
Yes. Just getting off the bus when you look at Nebraska. You're like, okay, this is not anything special about this team.
No.
Because our players don't even look apart. But when Ohio State stepped off the bus, you're like, whoa.
There is something to that.
When you see Alabama walking off the bus, then you're like, man, look at those guys there. Even Wisconsin. Look at Wisconsin offensive line and defensive line. You're like, wait a minute. Wow, they got some boys there. Can you say that when Nebraska steps off the bus or the plane? Oh, it's just another team. Oh, we're not afraid of them.
Oh,
but that's going to change with strength and conditioning and recruiting. And I believe it's going to change. Now, would it change with this staff? I don't know. Would it change with next staff? I don't know. But it's going to change.
Well, I've avoided all the coaching questions.
Well, there's no need to. Nate, he won. And what happens if you continue to win?
Yeah.
So that's why that's not saying anything about coaching. Who's going to be our next coach and that kind of stuff. He's still our coach.
Yeah, offensive coordinator. And we got a new AD. He'll determine the outcome.
And he's doing his evaluation like he said he was.
Even no matter what anybody thinks, whether they hate him, whether they dislike him, whether they love him, at the end of the day, goddamn, that guy's doing a job that very few people could do.
Yeah.
In my mind, to have that amount of pressure to come into a program, no matter how winning or losing Nebraska, it's a massive program.
Here's the problem, and I agree with that, but I don't agree with that. Simply because you took the job knowing what you're getting into.
It's true.
Now when you took the job, you might not have known how fragile and how bad it was inside the walls. And when I say not just from the player side, but from the administration side, not from the football support team, from the coaching staff. And you maybe not knew how bad it was within those walls. Yeah. But when it comes to the tradition of Nebraska, he knew what he was getting into.
But where I was, you were right. But I think one of the things we've seen with Riley it was very different with Bo, is when the pressure got on and things got a little rocky.
He's not wavering.
Bo was flipping us all off.
Yeah. And was afraid to answer the tough questions. And then became very combative.
Riley's still getting on the mic. He's still being respectful. Whether he stays or goes, that's the only thing I want to say. It's like, hey, the guy's treating us with respect, so we should treat him with a certain amount of respect.
He once again, if this was the last coach here, everyone would say, well, geez, look at his antics. Oh, he's very bent. Now you got a guy who's not wavering from who he is. When things are good, he's happy. When things are bad, he's not happy, but he's still sitting up there answering the tough questions. And that's what I commend him for. Because I don't know my personality. Some of the questions I'm being asked.
I know your personality.
I've probably been the last guy. You watch the game, then you tell me. But he's out there, but he's trying, and that's the state of this program, to where he has to be the common mechanism for that locker room and for the inside of the football field. But he's ultimately going to be judged based off results that happen on the field, and is his team improving from week 1 to week 3? And you can say, well, in some areas, yes, they have improved. And can you say, have they digressed in some areas? Yes, they have. But people, it's still a third year, and I'm not. And I've said it before, and I'm going to say it again. I don't think they need to get rid of him this year. Because we can't get into the habit of college, and I guess this is what I'm starting to see across college football. You bring a coach in, and after the third year, if he's not progressed where you want, you're going to fire him. Then you change your culture again. You can't continue doing that. If you got a guy who signed a contract for 5 years, give him at least 4 years. You have to, because if you get rid of him now, and let's say you bring in another guy, this guy, that guy. Now he's going to bring in his whole new staff. Now his recruiting philosophy is going to change. Now you're going to have players stay. You're going to have players leave. It's going to start the clock all over again. Especially when you feel that you don't have the talent. And I know people keep going back and saying, well, Bob Stoops won after his second year. Urban Meyer won after his second year, first year. Well, people, go back and look at Bob Stoops, whose players he won with. He won with John Blake's players. Go look at Urban Meyer. Urban Meyer, Ohio State has always had talent.
Oh, yeah.
Urban Meyer just came and put it all together. So you can't compare those two jobs situations to here. Then they say, well, look at the coach at Iowa State. Well, it's a total different conference. It's total different. The Big 12 conference from top to bottom is not as tough as the Big 10 from top to bottom.
No.
Tell me,
not right now.
Tell me the dominant team in the Big 12 right now. Oh, it was TCU. Really? Oklahoma. Well, last time I checked, Oklahoma beat Ohio State.
Yeah.
But Iowa State beat Oklahoma in the row. So it goes to show you you can't compare the two conferences. You can't, and I wish people stop trying to compare what this coach is doing at this school and that coach is doing at that school. Why? Because they're recruiting guys that fit their system. They're not chasing stars. Same thing Wisconsin's doing. They're not chasing stars.
They're the best example I can think of.
They're not chasing stars. They're chasing guys that fit their system, and they're molding them, and they're coaching them up to be as good as they are. And I heard a commentator say the other night, is Wisconsin a great football team or are they a bad football team? And the guy said, no, they're not a great football team, but they're good at all phases of the game. They're good at everything that they do. Mm-hmm. They're not going to beat themselves.
They're solid.
And that's what you need. A team that's solid in all three phases to give yourself a chance.
Yeah. They're probably, there might be some other teams, but when I think about it, they are probably one of the teams that I wish we were like. Because that's what we were like. We were always, they're just well-rounded. They don't care about those skilled players necessarily. They do, but it's not the same. Like, they are just so good at recruiting for their system. It's so impressive.
And I'm going to say it again. Stop chasing stars. Get guys that fit your system. Whether a 1-star, whether a 5-star, whether a 3-star, whether no star. If they fit your system and they do the things you like, get them in here. But chasing a 4-star player in this state when you got a 3-star, 2-star player in your state that can do just good and probably play harder because this is his state school he dreamed of, then go get that kid. Now, I'm not saying you need to get a roster full of that type of Nebraska kids like that.
Yeah,
but if you got a kid in your state who's better than who's on the same wavelength, same level as a kid out of state, take the one in state. Because the good chance that kid's not gonna go if things don't go his way. He's gonna work his butt off. Well, if you go get a kid from out of state and if things don't go his way, there's a good chance he's gonna leave.
Well, The teams you played on, the teams, the national 97 national championship, like Eric Crouch.
Yeah.
Full of local recruits.
Yes. And we had guys that were from Nebraska, offensive linemen, who worked their way up. Makovikas.
Yeah.
Walk-ons. Worked their way up into a scholarship.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. Corey Schlesinger was a walk-on, worked his way up. But he kept those guys in state. Those guys wanted to be here. So, okay, and they gave them an opportunity, and they proved they can be on the field.
Yeah. Tony Veland, Benson High.
Tony Veland, quarterback out of high school. Had some injury problems. Yep. I came in. He said, Coach, I'll move over to defense. I want to play safety. And look what he
played NFL.
Played
Broncos,
Super Bowl.
Yeah.
That's the type of stuff that they need to start looking at. Now, I'm not saying, we need to go back crazy and recruit all Nebraska players, because not every Nebraska player can play in this conference. But if the best players in the state of Nebraska has an opportunity can play in this conference, you should be offering them, or you should be going after them heavy recruiting. Hey, come on, be a recruited walk-on. We'll give you a scholarship in January.
Don't you think there's a chance that some of the problems we have with culture is the fact we don't have that? Because when you brought in some of those in-state guys, Mon Greens, the Tony Velands, the Makovikas,
right,
they knew what it meant to be a Husker. And it was more, it wasn't just playing for a football team. They know growing up here what it meant to be a Husker.
Right.
Playing for that team.
And you don't have, and I don't think you have enough of that on the team.
There was a pride, no way I'm letting this team down.
And I'll be the first one to say that I don't think there's enough Division I talent in Nebraska to play in the Big Ten.
That's fair.
Is that fair? Is that fair? And that's no knock on any player in the state of Nebraska.
The population's only so big, and that's very fair.
But the ones that are capable of playing the Big Ten, you got to be on them.
Yeah.
And it might be, 5 or 6 of those players every year?
Yeah.
And if you get 3 of those players, you've done your job. Because, of course, there are going to be some players in the state want to go or just want to leave the state of Nebraska, go see something new. Of course. Or they might see a better opportunity to go to another school and play. But if there's 5 or 6 legitimate big Division I Big Ten players, you should be offering them. And if they all say yes, fine, you've done your job. Now you can't. Now the people can't say, well, they're not recruiting Nebraska players. No, they're recruiting the best Nebraska players they can play in the Big Ten. But when you're not doing that, something's wrong with the picture. But you're willing to go to Texas, you're willing to go to California, you're willing to go to this school, hoping to get a guy. And the guy might commit, but then at last minute might change.
Yeah.
There's a good chance if a Nebraska kid commits to you, they're not changing their
That's a great point. Eric says Bradley. He just says Bradley. So I don't know what school Bradley came from, but he was a
Jalen Bradley comes from Bellevue West.
Yeah, it was on.
But Bradley's a different guy, because see, they always wanted to offer Bradley. His issue was off the field stuff.
Yeah,
it wasn't on the field stuff, because they had a scholarship saved for him, but he had to do things off the field. And once he did things off the field, the offer came. So he's a different animal. But Noah Fant, the tight end for Iowa, is the one that comes off. To where this guy is playing a big part at Iowa, doing well at Iowa. You mean tell me he's not better than some of the tight ends we have on our team now? And he's an Omaha kid. It's stuff like that, to where you see these guys they go off to other schools, and you have a chance to recruit them and offer them scholarships, and you don't, and they go off to other schools and they come in and they beat you. And that's when people start talking, well, they're not offering Nebraska kids. No, they're offering, they're just not offering the right ones.
Yeah. Yeah. Glenn, you have a good Sunday too. He had to take off. But
sorry you had to leave, Glenn.
He had lots of comments.
But listen to the podcast later. You might hear some of the comments that you stated, but thanks for listening though.
Tom says, how can we expect this team to understand what it means to be, he's saying what it means to be a Husker. I skipped the first sentence though, but he's like, most of these kids weren't even alive when we won our last championship.
Yeah,
you know what? When I was growing up, I don't even remember, I barely remember us even playing for a national championship in 81. I was a young kid. I knew it was a big deal, but my parents always, I was surrounded by Huskers, my grandparents, there was the whole state was around it. And now,
there's too much other stuff that's going on.
There is, and the fans are booing now, and you're not. I mean, that would never happen that I can remember.
Even that, there's just too much stuff.
Right.
There's too much other distractions going on to where people, for instance, the students itself. I remember when Nebraska wasn't as good as they weren't winning championships, the student section was still full. It was like that. That was like the thing that students do on Saturday. We're going to go out to the games. We're going to have fun. We're going to go to tailgate parties. We're going to go to frat parties. Now, 3/4 of the student section is full. So once again, there's too much other distraction, too much other things going on out there, from the student side of it to the fan side of it, to where I don't think it's as important to Nebraska fans as a whole as it was previous years.
Reality.
And that's not knocking on the true Husker
you're
fans.
True though.
But for instance, when you look at the Ohio State game, and you got fans leaving, I don't think fans would have left in the 80s like that. They wouldn't have been happy, but I think they probably sat until the end of the game. Why? Because there were not much other stuff going on.
Yeah.
But now, when things aren't well, I could be doing this now. Instead of sitting here watching this.
It's so true. Like you think, so just as two examples or a example, you go down to Miami. The Hurricanes don't sell out. The Dolphins, as far as I know, don't sell out.
No.
Because people, in fact, when I seen, like I was showing, I actually remember I was looking and I was watching, I can't remember if it was a Dolphins game or a Miami game. The stadium was empty.
Right.
And then I was asking somebody, he said, go look up the other team. And I was looking up pictures and the stadium's empty. And I was talking to somebody from Florida, and you're from Florida, but he's like, people don't go to those games because, first of all, the stadium's it's a little bit of a drive.
Yeah, people think University of Miami is in Miami. It's not. It's about 40 miles south.
So it's a drive, and they're like, people want to be on the ocean. They want to be. There's so many things to do. Well, you make sense because now what's happening, everything starts on the coast, right? Eventually, it works its way in. Well, we're starting to get things in this area
to where it's
and
more
internet and more. Yeah, there's so many variety of things. So when you're watching a bad product, it's easy, to go, I got other things I could be going and doing.
And think about it, TV has hurt that.
Yeah.
TV and streaming stuff has
Netflix,
hurt the loyalty of fans, because before all that stuff came in, people would say, I want to be in the game because the only way I'm going to know what's going on is either radio, or I got to be in the stadium. Now, and I'm guilty of it, to where I would rather stay out in the parking lot and watch them on TV than to go in the stadium.
Well, you even said it last night. The game was so boring that you could flip between that and the World Series.
Yeah, so there's too much other stuff that's going on to where in years before all the social media, internet, and TV contracts, it forced people to if they really want to know what's going on, they had to be there or wait till the news come on. Now you can pick up your cell phone, be walking to your car, and say, "Oh, they scored again. Good thing I left the game early." So there's just too much other distractions that can get people away from being true loyal fans.
Yeah.
And especially the ones, and here's what bothers me more than anything, and I hear this, and I got buddies who are this way. Well, I'm not going to the game because they're not going to lose the game anyway. And these are people who went to University of Nebraska. It's not about whether they win and lose. Are you University of Nebraska, Husker? Are you alum there? Still support them.
Yeah.
Don't just support them when things are going well. They need your support when things aren't going well more than they do when things are going well. Because when things are going well, everybody wants to be a supporter. Everybody wants to go.
Very true. I flew to. I've said it a million times. It's probably because it's the most expensive trip I've taken for a Husker game, but I went to USC to watch USC, and we were not going to win that game. At least the thought was we weren't going to win that game. We weren't favored to win that game. Nebraska wasn't playing very good, and but what was interesting, there was a chance.
You always have a chance.
There's a chance, and I flew to USC. Wife was 7 months pregnant. I had a broken leg.
I remember that.
We went to USC with a broken leg and my wife was 7. We both flew there, and we went to the game because we wanted to be part of history when that happens, or the chance that it could happen. You know what? We still had a fantastic time and had a lot of fun.
And the experience of watching the game in the Coliseum.
Which wasn't all that impressive, but it was cool that I did it.
Yeah, because it's USC. You saw Super Bowls played in that stadium.
Yeah, it was cool. Yeah. It was a great time, and what was interesting last night, I was going to make this point to you, or at least bring it up. What I thought was very interesting is at the end of the game, I was on Facebook, or today, what is it, Facebot. What did I say it was? Facebox. So I was writing Facebox at the end of the game, and there was so many people saying, "Yay, Huskers," and they were really excited. And what I realized is there's really a couple of different types of fans out there. There's the ones like us that get really upset and we're almost overly emotionally tied to the program. And then there's the other fans that are just like game by game. They want to be entertained and they just want to have fun for those couple of hours, and they want to root for their team. And if they do good, great. And if they don't, well, we got next week.
Yeah, and I think that's more me.
Yeah,
I've taken a lot of my emotions out. Now, early on, I used to be that fan, like, geez, I got upset.
Yeah.
I don't get as much. I don't let it ruin my day if Nebraska wins or lose. Because I'm not, because to me, how's it really going to affect me if they win or lose?
You're right.
Now, but it doesn't mean I'm not supporting them. Doesn't mean I don't want to see them win. But I'm not going to get so emotional wrapped in every time they lose to where I'm just not going to support them when they're having a season like this. No, it's still entertainment. It's still a place that I chose to leave the state of Florida to come play for. The great university, the great fans, the alums, and all. I'm not going to be one of these guys to say, well, now they're not doing very well, that I'm not going to support them. Because at the end of the day, the program is going to be there. Doesn't matter who's there. So you're supporting the program, not the team, not individuals. You're supporting the program because eventually those players are going to leave and new players are going to come in. Some of these coaches are going to leave, probably going to leave. New coaches are going to come in. AD's going to come, AD's going to go. President's going to come, president's going to go. Board of Regents going to come, board of Regents going to come, board of Regents going to go. Well, we're still going to be there. The program, University of Nebraska.
Yeah.
And I got my diploma from the University of Nebraska. So that's why I'm going to support them no matter what. Now, do I like seeing them play as bad as they do? No. No one likes them, but it's not going to stop me from being supportive. Now, people say, well, you don't go in the games. Well, that's a personal choice because I don't like the going in the mass crowd, fighting the crowd. I don't like sitting in the stands because I can't say, well, I think it was the Wisconsin game. I went in the stand.
Yeah.
And I was sitting in one of my buddies' boxes.
But I know you're going to sit in the stands at Minnesota.
Like on the road, I go sit in the stands. But at home games, because I won't be able to enjoy the game because people want to talk in there. But I was sitting there, and I literally left the game because some of the stuff that I heard from fans is unheard of. I'm like, really? And I mean, there was kids there, and it was like they knew what the coach was supposed to be doing. And I'm just like, and I couldn't take it anymore. So I'd rather be around a group of people who we all have kind of the same idea, same mind thing. Hey, we hope they win, but they don't. But guess what? We're here. We're going to enjoy. We're here for the atmosphere. We're here for the entertainment part of it. But if they lose, okay, they lost. But guess what? We're still going to be back here the next home game doing the same thing.
Yeah. I agree. We've become way overly critical. The only difference is, I'll say, at least previously, there's always a chance that we were always, for the most part, we're always in the game.
Yeah, but the thing about it, you say the Nebraska fans have become overly critical. I think I'm overly critical too, to a point. But that's the beauty of it. But Nebraska fans are overly critical in the 70s.
Well, let me.
When they wanted to get rid of Coach Osborne because he couldn't beat Oklahoma.
Right, but
that's just one game he couldn't win.
The difference now, though, what I'll say is we're overly critical, and because of the internet and a little bit of data that's out there, we all think we can coach better. We can all give better advice, right?
I know it. That's what kills me.
We all think, we're talking about this coaching thing, and Duffy, I heard you, Duffy. I seen your comments. Duffy's like, hey. Everybody's saying get rid of Riley. Whether we do or not, I don't know, and all that. But what Duffy's saying is one of the things that scares him is what you said. Like, we keep getting rid of coaches every other year. Yeah. This program will never recover.
Yes, and these coaches don't sit here and think these coaches aren't up there coaching, up there trying to put together the best game plan. They are. I've been on that side of the wall as assistant coach with a program that wasn't very good. We weren't very good, and we knew we weren't very good. But we were building for the future, and we knew that we were going to take lumps. But we knew we had to go out and recruit. We knew we had to get. But guess what? We spent 60, 70 hours a week up there trying to figure out a game plan and try to put our guys in the best situation. Now, you can do that as a coach, but sometimes you know that, hey, wait a minute, we don't have the players to really execute it, but we got to put them in a good situation to go out there to where they believe they can go out here and perform and have some success. And then as you recruit better players and your program get in place, then that's when things will change. To me, that's what's going on right here. But I still think there's a disconnect.
There's something going on.
There's still a disconnect of it transferring from the meeting rooms to the football field.
Somebody said this. I'm sorry, I don't remember who said. Brent. Brent said this, and I kind of agree with this. Is he says the players take on the personality of the coach, and the only reason that I kind of agree with this is because I lead teams, and I know when I come in every day, when I walk into the office, I know my attitude and how I present myself to the team. They will reflect that. And if I don't care about what happens for the day, nothing will necessarily.
I don't necessarily. Okay, maybe in business world, that
maybe
could be true,
that's why I'm asking.
But in the sports world, I don't necessarily think that is true. Simply because, everyone looks at Coach Osborne as he was just this mellow.
That's a great example.
Didn't get very beat up and all that kind of stuff. That was his image, but he was very competitive. But if you look at Charlie McBride, you look at Milt Tenniper, you look at Frank Solich, you look at Tony Samuel, you look at Kevin Steele, you look at all those guys. They got after the guys.
Yeah,
they got after the guys. So yes, Mike persona.
Do you think Osborne would have allowed the guys on the sideline to just have a bad play or fumble and then come over and laugh?
He let the coaches handle that.
But there was there was a structure for that.
There was a structure for that. Now he might have addressed it in the team meeting.
Yeah.
But during the game, it's very rare you saw Coach Osborne go and chew out a linebacker for doing something. It's very rare you saw him. He spent most of his time with the offense, and he'll bring us all together and say, let's get going. But most of the time, he's focusing on the quarterbacks and what the next series and how we're going to adjust to this on the sideline. See, people don't realize when we're looking at those cards on the sideline, those actually plays, formation that we ran the series before. We had a guy gradually sitting up there, charting out every formation, how they lined up, and they had a run to break down the sideline. And every time you see the quarterbacks over there, that's what we're looking at. Okay, versus this formation, this is how this lined up. This is what you saw. Yes, what I saw. Okay, now he's in his mindset. Okay, this is what we need to do. Since those plays, this is what we need to do. So he didn't have time to worry about the defense because he let those coaches, the personality of those coaches was the one who made up the team. Now, overall, for the program, yes, his personality, head coach. But it's up for the assistant coaches to be the personality of your position.
It's great.
If that makes sense.
No, it does. It does.
That's why they're the coaches of that position.
But T.O. was
But his presence and aura, when he says something, you know it's going to happen. But when you look at Christian Peterson,
he was
that wasn't Coach Osborne temperament. No. That was Charlie McBride's temperament.
That's the great thing. Like, if you really step back and think about it, T.O. was freaking a genius with that. Like, he almost he knew himself so well. He knew it might have been coincidence, but he knew the coaches he needed to surround himself with to take his message in their own way to that style player and deliver it. And
he let Christian Peterson and those guys and Grant Wilson be who they were because that was Charlie McBride's makeup. He knew that they had to be nasty, and Coach McBride coached those guys that way to where he wanted them to be nasty. If there were times where you saw one of those guys, you hear rumors about they grabbed guys' private parts up on the pile, that probably did happen because that's probably how they say we want to intimidate them. You saw the linebackers when Kevin Steele was there. You hear the stories about how those guys didn't like him because he was that tough on them. But they played, but they played better though. We had some great linebackers under Kevin Steele, did we not?
Yeah.
Charlie McBride, those guys didn't like George Darlington. But guess what? How many NFL cornerbacks did Charlie McBride put in the NFL? That's the make. You let the coach. Mike Rod's makeup is for the whole program to where he's the common. But those assistant coaches got to be the one who start putting their foot in guys. You know what? If they don't get the job done, it shouldn't have to be the head coach.
All right, we're running late, but I do want to.
We always running late.
We do. This one's really late. Still, it's good. We can go late, but here I got to bring this one up because I think this one is. I won't even say. I'm just going to tell you. So, Tom, I'm going to read Thomas's statement. I'll let you just comment on it. Thomas says this whole thing. When he says thing, I'm assuming he's talking about this. Yeah, he's talking about this whole disaster, the last 10, 12 years. This whole thing started when Osborne did not take the AD job after he retired. He did not protect Frank like Bob protected him.
Say that again.
This whole thing started when Osborne did not take the AD job after he retired from coaching. He did not protect Frank like Bob protected him.
Who was the AD at the time? Bill Burns, wasn't it?
Bill
Burns was AD.
Bill Burns was
and first of all, for people to make that statement right there, the reason why Coach Osborne did retire because if he went a couple years, Bill Burns pretty much told him that he wasn't going to be able to pick his predecessor. And so that's why Coach Osborne, because he wanted to make sure, because Frank was getting offers from other schools.
Yeah.
And Coach Osborne had always promised Frank that he was going to be the next head coach. And so that's why. So Tom did protect Frank. Now, when it comes to the AD job, who knows if the job was offered to him when Bill Burns left? No one knows that. Who knows it? I think Coach Osborne has started getting into the political realm of things, where he felt he could be a better asset to the state from the political side than he could from the athletic side. It wasn't until he didn't win the governorship is when he came to AD. So I don't think that is true whatsoever. And I respect what you're saying, but I just knowing what I do know from those years prior to that, I think the problem with Frank was Steve Peterson. Those two never got along when Steve Peterson was here. So that's where the disconnect was. It wasn't protecting Frank, and I'd be the first one to say there's some things that was happening on the Frank watch that wasn't the same thing that was happening on the Coach Osborne watch. Recruiting wasn't as good.
Yeah.
So even if Coach Osborne was here, and he probably will stay because they were a long-time friends and Coach Osborne understood it, but when you seen a program start to drop down, you started beating Northern Colorado out for kids, then there's an issue there. So to me, that's what happened. I don't think anything that cost Coach Osborne. It wasn't all gravy with Frank here the last couple of years either.
No. And let's face it, one of the reasons I just brought this, it's just I know the AD job, when Bob Devaney had the AD job, it is nothing like, I'm assuming, nothing like what it was when we went and got Steve Peterson. It went from being really an athletic department to a full-fledged multi-million-dollar business.
It's a business.
Like,
and why? Because you're either competing for money.
It was a huge
So that's
switch.
the difference to where AD's jobs aren't now to protect coaches. Their job is to put the best guy in to keep the revenue coming in.
It's revenue-driven, right?
Right, because who outside of the conference contracts, who's the ones filling the stadium? Season ticket holders, donors, alumni. And when those guys start contributing to the program because of certain coaches, then that's where the business side comes in. So, but when Bob Devaney was in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, yes, money was an issue, but Nebraska budget was based off football. Correct?
Yeah.
Now they're saying football the basketball got to carry its weight now. So we got to fill up basketball arenas. So now volleyball has to carry its weight because now it's becoming a business now. So a lot of decisions that are being made today are strictly business.
Yeah. I mean, Thomas, thanks for bringing it up. I totally disagree, but I'm glad you brought it up. I mean, we're here to talk about everybody's opinion.
Yeah, college sports now is business. It's not college sports anymore.
How about we run through a few real quick?
A few more, and then let's call it. I
mean, we keep going.
Because we did take last week off because it was a bye week. So
it was a bye week. You know, it was just not.
It wasn't a good week anyway. There was not much going on, and
I thought we were going to talk about some other things, but it just wasn't. It was a good week to have off.
Yeah,
it just was.
We need to regroup ourselves.
Okay, let's see. This is just like Lee Riker's picks were his. Wait, just like Lee Riker's picks weren't his fault, right? I'm not sure what that's even about. We're talking about Riker fighting.
Riker 5.
I don't know what we're talking about. Maybe there's a conversation I missed. So
just like Lee. No.
Riker's
let me try. Anytime a quarterback throws a ball.
Oh, there is a conversation going on. I just caught the tail end of it.
Anytime a quarterback throws the ball and he throws and it's picked off, 90% of the time it probably is his fault. But there's a thing where the ball bounces off a guy's helmet or the cornerman just makes a great play. Somebody just makes a great play. I mean, there's things, but when you throw the ball, there's two negative things that can happen. They're interception or intercept or a drop ball. So one thing good can happen. It being caught by your teammate. So right there, you're saying 2 out of 3 things can happen when you throw the ball. But yes, the quarterback does get the blame because he throws the ball. Now, but there's a lot of other things that happen.
There was some stupid play calls too.
Yeah, there's stupid play calls. I mean. But still, a stupid play call. If it's out there, you don't try to force it in there.
I shouldn't even ask because really, we're not trying to point blame.
Yeah, we're not pointing blame on anybody. That conversation initially started with the lack of 10 days of preparation. That was the best offensive game plan you can come with. That's what the conversation started off at. Even though they won, did they use their 10 days off accordingly?
I wonder what that looked like because the product on the field didn't look any better than any other time. And they had a lot of time to regroup, rethink, try some new things.
Yeah. Or hone up on the things that you were doing well, make sure those.
Like it was.
Well, I saw some of the same mistakes I saw.
It wasn't good.
Versus Northern Illinois.
Hey, if you guys have questions, real short ones, we'll try to run through a whole bunch real quick. Eric asked, did T.O. call the plays?
Yes. Every play. Now, he also had guys up in the box who he worked with for years, kind of knew what his mind was thinking. So he said, "Coach, they run this right here, so you might want to switch to you thinking this way." But he called every play.
Somebody else just asked, and we talked about this before, just what you just said. You probably just kind of answered it. And he said, "What do you think about the coordinators not being on the sideline?"
I don't care about that. I really don't. It might be more like I've seen it both ways, and I've seen it work both ways. It's what the coordinator is more comfortable with, because at the end of the day, they are the ones that are going to have to call a play. And so by them being upstairs in the box, they can see more of what's actually happening, how teams line up. If they are running two gaps over, then that gap over. Whether if they're on the field, they don't know. So that's why you see a lot of the coordinators upstairs.
You set us up, Eric. Eric says, so Eric asked about T.O. calling the play. So he goes, his follow-up question is, why can't Riley take over the calls now?
Because maybe he doesn't want to.
He might not be skilled at it.
No, he used to be offensive coordinator. I heard he was a great offensive mind. But I just think that he hires guys. You don't tell me how many head coaches in today's college football you see calling plays. Not very many. Not very many. Because it's just it takes away from you being able to have to manage both sides of the game. But when the defense is on the field and the offense not going well, you got to be able to try and do stuff on the offense. Even the coach from West Virginia called his own play. Hogerson called his own plays. And guess what? He gave up those play calls. That dude is. So you start to see more and more coaches who were offensive play. Mike Gundy was offensive coordinator early in the career, but he gave that away because he wanted to be able to manage everything, see everything.
Makes sense. We didn't even bring this up or talked about what you have any thoughts at all on the new AD?
Don't know much about him. I really don't.
Yeah.
Well, time will tell. People say that he does a great job and having a focus and having a plan and executing his plan. So who knows? Only time will tell.
Excited to see what happens. We just answered Julian. How will the season end or win-loss be? Okay. So Brent asked, what do you think is going to happen in essentially the next 4 games?
I think Nebraska win 3 out of the next 4. And that's when I said that a couple weeks ago. They can win 4 out of the next 5. I don't think they're going to beat Penn State, especially like I saw yesterday game.
Yeah.
And Penn State to me is the best football team in the Big Ten. Ohio State just made some plays late. Penn State stopped doing the things that they normally did in that game. But Penn State is they're a legit football team.
Look good.
They're a legit football team. Iowa's no real barn burner. They haven't done anything special this year. Northwestern, Northwestern. They
had a great game yesterday.
They always play teams tough, and you give them opportunity to stay close in it. Minnesota is really not a barn burning team, so I think the 4 of the last 5 games that Nebraska had on their schedule, I thought they can win them because those teams they're not Wisconsin, they're not Ohio State, and they're not Penn State. So if Nebraska doesn't, I think it'd be a disappointment if they don't win 3 of the next 4 games, especially with 2 of the 4 at home.
Not answer it. Man, I'm not asking any of these coaching questions. All you guys have all these crazy scenarios. Okay, if he wins this game and doesn't that, or if he loses 3 out of 4 and he beats Penn State, like all these scenarios, like we just got to let it play out.
Take it one game at a time.
I know what you guys are all thinking though. I think it too. But like you got to let the scenarios play out. Do you think this team is, sometimes I should read the questions before I even ask them. So Patrick says, do you think this team is tough-minded and physically tough?
I don't think they're either. I think there's a very, very fragile team when it comes to the mental side of it and the physical side of it. And that's something that's established in the off season. And is also established with veterans. When you're playing as many young guys as you're playing, and things don't go well, they shut down. Well, you still got some of the hangover of when things didn't go well before, they were yelled at. It was all their fault. So it's changing the culture. It's what they're trying to do. It's changing the culture that needs to happen. And now that clock has sped up to where that culture needs to start changing now. You can't wait until the off season.
Well, Gabe just said, Damon said after the game that the new AD saw all he needed to see this game. Do you agree with that?
No, but I'm not as close to the program as Damon is, though. You know, Damon goes down and he goes to the press conference and he's talking to, you know. So I don't agree with that because at the end of the day, if Nebraska go finish the season 4-1, makes them 7-5, if my math is right, they finished on a high note. To me, right, they're saying, hey, they got things going in the right direction. Now, if they finish the season 2-3, now you can say, well, maybe.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's still the third year.
Well, we're still the record or what's happening where they're playing and is no different than what we really said. What you said at the beginning of the season, except for Northern Illinois.
Northern Illinois. That's the one game I thought that we were going to win. All other games, Oregon. I think the shit was going to be tossed up because it's on the road.
It'll be funny what everybody says when something crazy happens. We upset Penn State.
Yeah,
which probably won't happen. But just like,
but people forget though.
Yeah,
Mike Riled through his years have always found a way to win a game that no one gave him a chance to win. Am I correct? He's always found a way to win a game that no one gave him a chance to win.
No.
So I'm just saying, people let it play out.
Well, the thing is, we can speculate, but nothing's going to happen until after the end of the season. Might as well enjoy the game.
And especially if he's winning. Why would you get rid of a coach who's starting to win? Serious. If his record was, if he would beat Northern Illinois, okay, and it'd have been 4-3 instead of 3-4, and then they'd been 5-3 after last night, would anybody be disappointed with that record? Considering the 3 losses that they have.
Yeah.
Would you?
I
didn't think it was going to be Wisconsin. I didn't think it was going to be Ohio State. I gave it a toss-up versus Oregon, but I thought Oregon was going to win that game. If you go back and look at this top part, they're right where I thought it was going to be, with the exception of Northern Illinois.
The downfall is how we've lost some of those, but even that.
It doesn't matter. A loss is a loss.
Last year was really embarrassing.
Yeah, a loss is a loss. At the end of the day, when they flash Nebraska record at the end of the year, 75. They don't say 75, but they lost to Ohio State by this many points. They lost to West Coast by this many points. It's still they lost. Losing by 1 point. You think Penn State care? I think they're more hurt they lost the game by 1 point than losing by 12 points.
Yeah. When you're right there
there, that hurts more than losing by 40 points. Because that means you just got your butt kicked all game when you lose by that many points. But let me ask people this question here, and then we can go. Do you like where we are right now better, or do you like where Florida State's at right now? And Florida State has talent.
What in the world is going on in Florida State?
So it could be worse, people.
Holy moly. Yeah.
And you got a guy who's been there for, 7 years, 8 years?
That's what I'm saying. Because everybody's high on that coach, and what they've won 2 games, right?
Yeah, and if you say, well, they lost their starting quarterback, people they were going to have problems with it if he was still in there.
2-5
because their offensive line is worse than Nebraska's, I believe. If you look at Florida State's defense, their players when you go on the field and look at Nebraska's, I would take Florida State players day in and day out. But guess what? Their defense is just as bad as Nebraska's.
And they got to play Syracuse, Clemson,
and Florida.
There's some. It just goes to show this stuff can happen anywhere.
It can happen, and this is Florida State, which is in a state where they have talent. Florida State pretty much get all the top talent they want.
Yeah,
and look what's happening. And you telling me Jimbo Fisher's not a great coach?
I'm curious what's going on there.
So people, let me ask it again. Would you rather be where Nebraska is right now or where Florida State is right now? Because they got embarrassed at Boston College.
3 points. They had a field goal.
I'm talking about Boston College. Come on, people. Boston College is not. I think Boston College is a 500 team.
Yeah, they're 5-4,
and they scored 35 points versus Florida State, and Florida State only scored 3. So. People sleep on that. Think about that. Would you rather be Nebraska right now at 4-3? Or 4-4?
4-4, I think.
Or be 2-5 at Florida State when you know you have the talent, but something just not working there? So we think our expectations are high here. Florida State expectations are just as high. Why? Because I think they did just win a championship. How many years ago? Huh?
Just a couple of years ago.
They won, and they've won more championships in the last 15 years as Nebraska won, right? So you would think their expectations are higher than Nebraska right now because it's not the lack of players there. Correct?
Definitely not. They're stacked with talent.
So that's what I'm getting
Local
at.
talent.
That is what I'm getting at. So we can cry wolf. Oh, this. Hey, it could be worse. USC is getting their butts chewed out.
Yeah, that's a premier program.
And that's a premier program, but they're not performing up to the way they're supposed to be performing. But I mean, so it's just not happening here in Nebraska, people. It's happening all over the country, to where team programs that normally are good, that should be good, are not.
Which Duffy says, to be honest, I'm disappointed with college football in general. So, you got two ways. I think if you've been around for a while and you see these teams that were the premier teams for 20,
right,
30 years, I could see where you say that. If you're younger, you don't know any different, and the game is so different.
No, but see, Duffy says that I actually like college football now more so than I did back in the days,
because
there's parity.
Yeah,
and that means you got to play every game because you never know what's going to happen. You never know. Whoever thought TCU would have been leading the Big 12 after 8 weeks? Okay. Whoever thought after last year Central Florida be undefeated? Okay. That's college football. It is a day to where you still got to go out and play again. There's so much parity in college football to where I actually enjoy it now because there's a good chance that, hey, this team not going to beat that team. It's going to be a barber.
You're going to see a lot of exciting games.
Yes.
Which is great. But I understand what he's saying.
Yeah, I
understand
when it comes from the old school, that you want to see the traditional powerhouses be up there. But for me, I enjoy seeing new teams step up. And it might be a 1 or 2 year run, but that's all it takes to get momentum in their program, to get money to come into their program. Look at Wyoming last year. Wyoming had a great year. I think and guess what? The state started giving them money again to the athletic budget where they never did. They're building a new indoor facility at Wyoming because of the success that Craig Bowl has had there since he's been there.
Yeah,
that's what college football is all about. So you can parity 85 scholarships. Now it's a lot different than 115 when I played. So you're talking about 30 scholarships a year difference. That's 30 players that normally probably would have come to Nebraska are going to the Kansas States, are going to Wyoming's and helping those programs. So I like college football the way it is today because there's parity. You can turn on TV knowing that, hey, there's going to be a good game.
Hey, is this Darren? Darren says, where's the manatee helmet?
Oh, I don't have his back home in Florida. Yeah, we do need a hurricane helmet. Just like, once again.
Was that what you were, the Hurricanes?
Manatee Hurricanes, yeah.
Oh.
Just like my high school program in Florida, they're struggling. I mean, they hadn't made it to the state finals in several years. But they right now, they used to win district every year. But guess what? This year, they have a makeup game on Monday. A district game, if they win that game, they're in the playoffs. They lose it, they're out of the playoffs. Never thought that my high school would have a playing game to make it to the playoffs. But that just shows you football, even at high school level.
Yeah.
It's competitive.
It's a different game.
It's a different game.
It's very different. And
but I will try to get a Manatee Hurricane helmet up here and then be sitting on the stage here.
Be kind of cool.
Yeah, they're spoiled too. They have an Under Armour contract. I mean, geez.
Do they really?
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Oh yeah. Oh, they got a big screen. They got a jumbotron, I think, in their stadium now. I mean, it's.
It's big. I mean, it's just interesting.
Sports. It's more so football in the high
school level. Except for NFL, their ratings are down.
Yeah, but their ratings are down because of political stuff.
Yeah, that's some. Yeah.
It's not down because of the product on the field.
We get too caught up. I'm a prime example. You get too caught up in these games, you get all emotional, and your day's ruined if your team loses.
Right.
And then you start to grow up, and you got other things going on, and you realize, like, I'm going to enjoy the game, and if they lose, I won't be happy, but, like, I'm going to still go mow the yard. Yeah. I still got to mow the yard.
I still got stuff I got to do.
Like, that's not going to change.
Like we talk about NFL. I can't remember the last time I actually sat down and watched the whole NFL game.
Me either. It's been a couple. It's me either.
And because I'm not now, you ask me how often do I sit down and watch a full college game? Oh, I watch college football all day Saturday. I'll sit and watch college football. I don't have to leave the house. Now I'll just sit there and watch football. Well, NFL, I don't start getting into the NFL until the playoffs. Because right now, because I played professional for a couple of years, and I know how they do it. The first 4 or 5 weeks, they're playing hard. Then the next 4 or 5 weeks, they're trying to make it through because they don't want to get injured. Because they know they got 6 more games, and by the 10th game, they know if they have a legitimate chance to make the playoffs or not. If they have a legitimate chance to make the playoffs, then they turn it up again.
Yeah.
If they don't, then they just coast through the season.
It's a business.
It's a business for those.
So they're going to take a very different strategy.
And they also know if they make it to the playoff, they get extra money.
Yeah, I was like, yeah.
If they don't make it to the playoffs, then once their last game over, they let their paycheck stop.
Very different than
pro sports is different than college.
Yeah, college, every game, for the most part.
Every game matters.
Yeah.
Every game matters.
It's important.
Because look at Penn State. This might be the only game Penn State lose, and they probably make it to the playoffs.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. Probably removed them from the playoffs.
They moved from the playoffs. So every game, unless Ohio State loses again, and Wisconsin loses, the Big Ten.
Yeah, there's always a chance.
There's always a chance, but that one loss pretty much knocked them out. Clemson, one loss, pretty much knocked them out. Now they control their own destiny, but still. If Notre Dame continue winning the way they are, Notre Dame's going to be in. Why? Because they are Notre Dame.
Yeah, they. Try to see that. There is something weird to that, ain't there?
Yeah, they're independent. They play independent schedules, so they get the benefit of the doubt that they lose one game, then they're going to be in it.
Miami has
a chance.
Miami's on a roll.
Yeah, but I think Miami's the way they're looking, how they win those games, it's going to hurt them. And play, especially when the ACC is not as tough as it used to be.
Wisconsin really is set up nicely.
Yeah, Wisconsin, if they win out, they're going to be in.
They got to play Michigan.
We've seen Michigan.
Yeah, but other than that, they got Indiana, Iowa, and Minnesota.
If they win out and win the Big Ten, they're going to be in the playoffs.
They got a legitimate chance.
It's going to be hard to keep an undefeated Big Ten team out of the playoffs.
It's weird because they don't get the love like Ohio State does.
Look at their strength of schedule. Look who they played to start off the season. Who have they truly played on their schedule to say, wow, that was a great team? Their
schedule is extremely weak.
Yeah, so that's why you don't hear much about them but they're still winning though.
Maryland, Illinois,
yes,
BYU, Florida Atlantic.
Nebraska.
I don't even know who this team is.
They played Illinois last. The toughest team, the toughest game in the schedule is probably Michigan. And then the Big Ten championship game, because I think they're going to make it. They got to lose 3 games in order for Nebraska or anybody else to jump ahead of them in the West.
Yeah, they look.
Yeah.
All right.
So, good show today.
Long show today. Lots of good questions.
Good question.
People still,
and I saw a bunch of thumbs up and likes and funny faces going across the screen there.
Yeah, so I don't know how many often we get those. I think I noticed it today more than any. There was a lot of thumbs up, so I appreciate thumbs up.
People, hey, we try to critique, criticize, whatever you want to call it, from both angles. We do the positive side, and we also do the negative side of the thing. But the one thing you're gonna get from us, you'll get our honest opinion.
Yeah,
we don't sugarcoat. We're not gonna sugarcoat. We're not gonna be one of these guys when you get in front of a certain person and say, "Oh yes, so coach, you're doing a fine job," and then come on here and not. No, I'm gonna say how I feel about the program at that moment.
Man, maybe we should just ask for thumbs up more often.
Yeah, because we can tons of thumbs up.
I'm sure it does something for your rankings and Facebook and everything else. So
yes, and so if people were always looking to improve the quality, improve topics. So basically, what we've done this year is let you guys control what we talk about.
Yeah, we've done every year before. We tried to plan a little bit or something,
but this year we're like, no, let's let them. We'll start with what we thought the game was, but then everything we talk about comes from you. So that's why we went live. We want to be more interactive with you, and it
makes it fun.
And here's what I'm gonna do for the first 5 people who hop on Facebook Live next year or next week. I think next week, or let's do this for the first 5 people who predicts the score for next week's game. I will send them an autographed picture.
They predict or they predict it? right?
Score. Pick the score.
Pick the score.
And it got to be the winner and the score. So let's say they picked Nebraska to win 27-21. But Nebraska won 35-24. To me, that's close.
Yeah.
But the first 5 who come in with the right team winning and come to what the score would be.
All right, so you heard them. So in this thread, so somebody already posted, post your predictions for next week's score, and whoever the 5 that come the closest.
The
5 that come the closest, Tommy's going to send an autograph photo.
And here, if there's a tiebreaker, I say 5. Now, if there's tiebreakers, the first 5 who got it in first, and we can see who got the predictions in.
Yep.
So I don't want to say, well, I predicted 2, yeah, but you did it. You're the 40th person who did it.
Yep.
So you better start.
Put them in.
You better get them in now.
Yeah, they're getting them in. So people are putting them in. That's pretty sweet. That's a good idea. We should do that more often.
Yeah.
Tell Tommy in the chat. Tell him to give away some more stuff.
Trust me.
Give away some stuff. Tell him you want lunch on him.
Well, we ain't gonna go that far.
All right, so we'll be back next. So the Huskers play Saturday, Northwestern at 2:30 in Lincoln, right?
Lincoln, uh-huh.
So that should be a decent game. They always play us tough. And then we're back Sunday morning at 10 a.m. You're in town, right?
I'm in town.
I'm in town, so we'll be back next Sunday.
I think Minnesota might be out of town when they play Minnesota.
You?
Yeah.
All right.
So, and we probably won't be able to do the blue jean because I'll probably drive them back. So maybe we can get together later at the evening.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. Or
we'll figure it out. You can do Facebook. I haven't really tried this with 2 people, but you can do Facebook Live audio too.
Yeah, but the problem is I'll be driving.
I don't know how you get your signal
and connection and stuff like that. So
we'll figure it out.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. We'll have a show for the Minnesota game. Whether it might come out a little later in the afternoon or later that evening or maybe Monday, but we'll have a show.
All right. Otherwise, go to you're already here. Facebook.com/touchdown.
Hey, is the website up yet? The Touchdown Tommy, the one
no, we got to redo that.
Yeah, okay,
I'll do it this week. We'll get it up. So I've been kind of working on a lot of things, but we've been redoing the Touchdown Tommy website. But
because I also want to put the store on the Tommy Frazier Clothing Line store on there.
We'll get the store up the store. We'll get the website up this week, and we'll figure out the store stuff. Any of you guys got any other suggestions or anything? Pass them on.
Pass them on. No, this show is about you guys.
It's been really organic this year. Like this is the first year we haven't forced anything. We just let
you guys
kind of dictate
control the conversation.
And it's actually been the funnest year.
Yep.
Not a really real word, but been the funnest year. We've had the best responses and numbers and shares and interactions. So,
and I'm getting texts from people who are actually listening to it as we were on the line. They text say, "Good show, listening to it."
I got texts last week. People were like, "What the hell?" And
then getting feedback from people like, "Oh yeah, this is this." I mean, so it's a good format. You guys control it, which is what we like, and because we're being genuine.
Oh, can we get a guest on next week?
Yeah. Who do you want to get?
I don't know. Who do you guys want? Who should we get?
Let's reach out to Damon.
Ooh, Damon?
Mr. Unsportsmanlike Conduct guy.
Unsportsmanlike Conduct. I don't know if we can have Jason Peters here, man.
No, I don't even. He's just too negative. He's just way too negative.
That's what. But Damon's got a good perspective.
Yeah, Damon has a good perspective of everything, and he's going to tell you what he thinks.
Yeah.
And he's going to tell you what he'll say. Well, I can't answer that question because of his ties with the media down for the university. But he's going to give his opinion on certain things.
So we've had a lot of guests. Who's your favorite guest we've had on so far?
Corey Ross.
I agree.
Corey.
He's probably been my favorite. That guy showed up and just cracked me up the whole time.
Corey. Shouts out to Corey for getting a new football head coaching job over in the Illinois area for, I think it's Arena League 2.
Yeah. I think he's in Arena League 2.
So congratulations to him. And
he was my favorite too.
Yeah, but
I loved him.
He just genuinely came on and he was funny. And
nicest guy. Yeah. Nicest guy, sharing candy bars with my kids.
This is after I left.
Yeah, you were gone. He just stuck around. He was talking about cooking with the wife, and then he was playing with the kids and handling candy. Yeah, it was probably one of my favorite too. We've had some good ones.
Yeah, but we'll have a guest on next week.
Cool. Anything else?
No, I'm good.
All right, we're good. All right, guys, we will see you next week.
Enjoy your Sunday afternoon. Till next time, folks. See ya.